Greetings, everybody. This is Coach Sarah Griffith. Today, I'm going to walk you through the specifics of the Transform 20 nutrition program. So this video is for anybody who is doing Transform 20. Specifically, it's for those who have recently signed up for our VIP access and will be kicking off the program with me in just a few short weeks. So what I'm going to do in this video is simply go over the nutrition program. I have other videos regarding how to prepare for the group and how to access the workouts. So if you've missed those, make sure you go back and check them out. What you're going to see right now is me logged into my Beachbody on-demand library. If you haven't done this already, please do so now. Some of you will be working from a hard copy material book, so you can follow along in your book if you've bought the actual print resources. But for those who do not have the hard copies of the nutrition program, again, you're going to want to follow along. So what I'm doing, when I'm in my on-demand library, I will have clicked on Transform 20, and then I will click on Program Materials. Today, we're specifically talking about the nutrition program. So we're going to open up that tab and download the Beachbody Nutrition Guide PDF. As you can see, this is what the PDF version looks like. If you have the hard copy, this is your book that would have came in your Transform 20 box that you would have received in the mail. What we're going to do today is talk to you about how to get started and figure out where you're going to fall in regards to the nutrition. So how it works is Beachbody uses the portion control container system. There's also another option, which is to use the Tubi Mindset nutrition tracking system. Today, this video will specifically talk more about the portion control option. So for those of you who have the containers, this is going to explain how to use them. In the event that you don't have the containers, just know that this book will explain to you what portion sizes you should use. So the first thing you need to do is find your weight category. So if you are a female, you're going to be using the top row. If you're male, you're going to be using the bottom row. This is going to show you which plan you fall under. Now, in the event that you are breastfeeding or pregnant or you have certain restrictions from your doctor, this list may need to be modified just a bit. I will tell you that when I was breastfeeding, I always added an additional 500 calories to my plan suggestions. So if you are a breastfeeding mom, I would add in at least 500 more and see where you fall. In the event that you notice a change in your milk supply, then you may need to add a little bit more if necessary. So what this plan does is it breaks down and tells you how many containers each day you're going to have from each category. So if you look over at the left, there's options such as veggies, fruits, proteins, carbohydrates, healthy fats, seeds, and oils, and you're basically like your nut butters, your salad dressing, those type of things. So you're going to see how many you get. So for example, I would fall into plan A. So I would get 3 veggies, 2 fruits, 4 proteins, 2 carbs, 1 healthy fat, 1 seed and dressing, and then 1 oil and nut butter. What you can do then, once you figure out where you are, is you can go down and you can start to look through the list of what falls under each category. So I'm going to scroll down for you. Now, what you're looking at right here is just simply showing you some of the other recommended additions that you can do while doing Transform 20. So this particular side is featuring our performance line, which is something that for Transform 20 you would definitely want to consider using. So it highlights what they are. If you're curious or have more questions, you can certainly reach out to your coach or whoever it was that invited you to this challenge group, and they can talk to you more about it. So this is your food list. Most of you, if you're looking at this in the hard copy form, you're going to see it on one page. But what this is this list breaks down what foods fall under that category. So for example, if you were looking at the veggie category, I know that I get 3 of those a day. So that means that 3 of the foods that I eat today need to come from this category. If you're using your containers, for the most part, the rule is if it fits in the container, that's how much you have. In the event that you don't have the containers and you're going to be doing a lot of measuring, this tells you exactly how to measure and what the expectations are. One thing that's really neat is that the list goes in nutritional value order. So like if you are really trying to lean out, or perhaps you've been at a weight loss plateau and you've been struggling, my advice to you would be, instead of choosing veggies down here, so onions, salsa, veggie broth, a pickle, instead of choosing those, I would go up here and I would pick things like spinach or kale or broccoli or asparagus, and I would eat towards the top of the list. So again, that is why they are labeled and laid out the way that they are. Same thing goes for fruits. They just break it down, as well as your proteins and your carbohydrates. What I would recommend that you do when you get your book is I would take a highlighter and I would go through and highlight all of the things that you know are going to be options for you to eat. So if you look at this list and you're like, so for example, I don't really like turnips. So for me, I'm not going to use a turnip. That's not going to be one of my options. So I would go through and I would highlight all the things that are potentials for meal planning for myself. So I would recommend that you do that. Again, this is your protein options and your carbohydrates. Your Shakeology is going to count as one of your reds. So for example, I have 4 reds in a day, so one of those will be my shake. There's an option for foods that are counted as free, meaning that you do not need to use a container for it, because from a calorie standpoint, you don't need to count it. That is listed right here. For those of you who are maybe wanting to make your own dressings or whatnot, things like a balsamic vinegar would be a great salad dressing because it'll count as a free food. Over here are some different Shakeology options that you can look at. So this is just an example of your Shakeology and how you can make it. Personally, I actually just make mine with water, but some of you prefer to make it with milk or almond milk. So this just shows you how to do some of your counting. Now, I am a big fan of meal planning every single Sunday. So my advice to you would be to sit down and create a meal plan based off of your container requirements and decide what are you going to need to get at the grocery store, what recipes will you be making this week for you and your family, and how can you prep ahead of time. Now, if meal planning is something that's new to you, I would give you the advice and tell you to do this ahead of time. I would probably start on Thursday because planning meals for the week can be a little bit overwhelming. One thing that you can do to get some ideas, there's some recipes here in your book, but you can also go ahead and go to your on-demand library and you can look at the Fixate channel. The Fixate channel is a series. It's almost like a cooking show that we have, but it's a series of different recipes and it breaks it down by your containers, which is awesome because it totally takes the guesswork out of how many containers is this meal? So it's really great for that. This is an example of a sample 3-day meal plan. So if you are totally new to meal planning and you've never done it, this is just a sample of plan A of what somebody might be eating in a day if they were following the portion control system. Now, as you look through your book, you're going to see a series of just different recipes. This is a benefit that comes with whenever you pick a Beachbody program. They always give us these really gorgeous nutritional guides, and the nutritional guides typically have some new recipe ideas, which is so fun. So I'm just going to scroll down through here so you can see these are just some of the new recipes that are in there. And again, they often will tell you what the serving size looks like. It's typically down at the bottom. Here are some Shakeology recipes. This one's fun, Belgian waffle Shakeology. So again, some new ones. Now, down here, it talks to you about with your beverages, adding in some fruit or fresh herbs. These are all things that I do myself personally so that I can be sure that I'm getting in all the amounts of water. So you're going to take your weight, divide it by 2. That's how many ounces you're going to have every single day. Again, in the event that you're pregnant or breastfeeding, you may be having more than that, but this is your starting line. If you are a coffee or a tea drinker, that's okay. You don't need to quit. They suggest no more than 3 to 4 cups of coffee a day, which I think is very, very, very generous. I think that's actually a lot of coffee in a day, to be honest with you. I would encourage you to shoot for just 1 to 2. But anyways, here's a little list of things that are okay to put in your coffee. So some coffee or tea, I guess. So these are some suggestions. This is something that you may want to do in moderation. And then these are things that they say, no, if you want to get results, you probably shouldn't be adding these things into your drinks. I will tell you that me personally, I've been on my wellness journey for 4.5 years now. And there are a couple little things that I have decided to keep in my diet, even though they're not necessarily the best for me. An example would be that every morning, I do like to have a cup of coffee. So I brew my coffee, and in my coffee, I put about 1.5 tablespoons of half and half. And then I proceed to put in 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. It's just white sugar. It's not the best kind for me, but I've made a decision that I've cut out a lot of really unhealthy ways and things that I was having before. And so I don't want to feel like I've given up everything that I love. I love my morning coffee with cream and sugar. I look forward to it when I wake up. Have I gotten rid of it before? Yes, I have, especially in the beginning when I was on this journey. I cut it out completely, and to be honest with you, I just missed it. So you need to make choices, and you need to say, what am I willing to, change a little bit or give up a little bit? And what am I saying? You know what? There's a line in the sand, and I'm not going to get rid of that. Maybe for you, it's a glass of wine once a week or whatever your thing is. But for me, that's my little vice that I haven't given up. As far as suggestions on shopping and meal prepping, here's what you need to do. You need to sit down and make your grocery list while you're making your meal plan. Do it at the same time. This will help you to make sure you get all the ingredients that you need and to not be purchasing things that aren't necessary. So what I like to do first is I always plan the dinners ahead of time. Typically, dinners have more carbs in them, so I will plan that, and then the rest of my day is based off of that. So if my dinner, say we're having Mexican, and I want to have brown rice and the corn tortillas, I know that for me, I only get 2 yellow containers a day, 2 carbs. So that means that breakfast it can't be oatmeal, right? Because I already used my carbohydrates. So I would suggest plan your dinners first. I like to use my dinners as my lunch the next day, so I'm a big fan of leftovers. It takes some of the planning out for me and the prep because it's already made. So lunches are always dinner. And then again, my breakfast is based off of basically the carb intake for what I can have later. So that would just be a couple of my tips. I have other videos and trainings just on meal planning and meal prepping. I'd be happy to share them with you if you're new to it. But I would say make this a habit, make it a non-negotiable for the 6 weeks that we do this program, that you have a set meal plan every week, that you get yourself to the grocery store. I really like to do it on the weekends. I know some people prefer to do it on Mondays or Fridays, but I think you'll set yourself up for success if you can meal plan, have it done by at least Saturday, and then get to the grocery store on Sunday and take some time on Sunday to prep ahead, wash some of your fruit, cut up some of the veggies that you may not necessarily feel like cutting up. Peppers are a pain, but if they're cut and prepped, you're more likely to eat them. So I would encourage you to do of those things. And in the event that you are dining out at all throughout the week, that's okay. Don't stress. Just stick to your containers. Obviously, we don't want to be ordering like margaritas or sodas or things that are really high in sugar and that are going to that are going to prevent you from getting your results. So that would be my 2 cents. Order, salads are always great. Just be careful of what they're putting on top of it. Know that often their portion sizes are also typically very large. So maybe just ask for them to do a split it. So ask them to split it and put half of it in a box to go and then half of it on your plate so that you don't even have to worry about overeating. So those are just a few of my suggestions. Now, in the event that you are going to be doing the 2B Mindset program, you won't be following the container system. And what I would encourage you to do, because you're going to be using your own separate tracker, I would encourage you to go into your 2B Mindset resources and go under the option where it talks about if you're doing the program, the 2B Mindset program with exercise. Alana has a few tips for you in there. So if you're doing 2B Mindset, let's catch up on that. If you're not doing 2B Mindset, we know that our tracker that we're going to be using is under here. It's in our calendar and tracking. And you already have it, but it's your 6-week transformation tracker. So some of you have the big book. This is going to be where you're tracking what you're eating every day. So even if you meal plan, that's awesome, but you still have to track it. You still have to write it down. Because I may think that I'm going to eat eggs today, but maybe I didn't feel like it that morning and I didn't do it. So you've got to track every day. But anyways, I hope this video was helpful. I'm really excited to help you dig into the nutrition program and get started with Transform 20. I know that nutrition is sometimes the hardest piece to doing a program, but I promise you, if you can nail down your nutrition and you can just stay super focused for the next 6 weeks, the results that you're going to get are going to be phenomenal. I hope you will reach out if you have more questions, and I'm eager to start with you shortly.